Live, rock and roll. John, welcome.
Okay, this is John here from Rock Fantasy Files, and we're here today to talk about Venom, talk about our favorite songs, Venom Inc., Venom, just, one of the most important bands ever, really, in extreme music. I mean, kind of goes like Black Sabbath, Motorhead, Venom, and everything else is like after that. So, hell yeah. So we have, well, I guess just everyone just introduce themselves. We'll start with Robin here.
Me?
Yeah,
Always
just
me.
you don't have to say, just introduce yourself and kind of give yourself a little plug or something.
Well, make it sound good. Make it sound really good. I mean,
Yeah.
really sell it. Come on, Robin. Come on,
Yeah,
Robin.
you got this.
My name's Robin. I play bass in the bands Durcata and Gruesome.
Woo!
And woo!
Wow!
And
Party.
I also do touring for many years, and I'm happy to be here because I love metal and I love Venom and I love all you guys, and there you go.
Okay.
That was
Is that good?
brilliant. That was great.
I know.
love that one.
I need an award now.
And Steven, you're next.
Steve, Rock Fantasy Files. I started this last summer. I've owned a record shop about 60 miles north of New York City for 35 years, and we launched a website, rockfantasy.com, and started this show last summer. John and Robin have been a great big part of it for me, and welcome everyone to the show. It sounds like we're going to have a really fun episode today.
Awesome.
And we have Alex over here.
I am Alex Bouks, guitar player for Immolation and numerous other bands. And Venom is one of my all-time favorite bands. And I'm honored to be here for sure.
Okay. And Denis.
Hey, my name is Denis Sasquatch Barthe. I'm from the band Agression from Montreal, Canada. Now living in Vancouver, Canada, on the English side. Venom's changed my life, so I'm here to say thank you.
Yes.
For making the rest of my life whatever it has become. So I'm looking forward to talk about Venom.
And Jeremie.
Hello, my name is Jeremie Kling. I play drums for Venom Inc. I'm a sound guy. I'm also a sound guy, and I play drums. I do lots of stuff. Touring
Too bad you
musician.
can't do sound and play drums for Venom Inc. at the same time. You'd save a little money.
I've had to in South America.
Yeah.
Like
multitasking. Who said a man can't multitask?
Running back and forth from the drum set to the front of house board because they had like horrendous settings in Peru. So yeah, anyways, been there, done that.
And then I guess Tony here. Nobody probably knows who he is, so you got to introduce yourself so everybody will know.
Yeah, my name is Denis, and I put this show together for the last 4 years. I got a record store just north of New York. No, I'm the Demolition Man. A long-term brother and friend to the mighty Mantas, and my association with Venom goes way back and dips in and dips out, and they meant something to me, and I'm glad to be here, and we get to talk about the great music, the legacy that is Venom. And it's nice to see all you guys, and I'm a big fan of your bands too. So Immolation, of course, definitely Al, and Den too. So it's really cool to be here.
Awesome. And Mantas here.
My name's Bob. I'm homeless and I just came in out of the cold, so it's nice and warm. So I just thought I'd watch you lot just making a mess of things, and But actually, yeah, my name's Jeff. Probably better known as Mantas. I'm the founder of Venom, and let's talk. Let's talk, and you better be ready.
That's
awesome.
Never good. That's never good when he says that. And he keeps a lot of cats. So if you want to see his pussy, just ask him. He'll show you.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I guess we're just going to go with kind of talking about our favorite tracks and just, I don't know, we'll ask some questions and stuff to you guys, and hopefully it doesn't totally suck. So, okay, well, I guess I'll start to kind of get things going. I'm fucking Venom to me is just, one of those life-changing bands. I mean, I got into pretty early on. It was probably one of the first real like underground, like satanic dark bands I ever got into. And just, I I seen the Welcome to Hell, like I have it on picture disc, and I was just like, these fuckers look fucking evil as fuck, you know? So I said, I'll pick this up or whatever, and heard it. And it was just like, holy hell, you know, it was just so intense. So it was just great because you really felt like, yeah, I'm fucking evil now. Evil as fuck listening to this. I go into hell for sure, you know, as you know, like 11, 10-year-old kid. I don't remember, but it's just great. So, I mean, that always means a lot to me. And I picked up, I remember, well, it must've been around At War with Satan time. So what was that? Was that 83, 84, somewhere like that?
84.
Yeah, so it's probably like 14 or something like that. I bought both of those around the same time. And for me, that At War with Satan is just kicked ass. I just love the the whole side song. It just basically just seemed like it was like almost like a rambling of just evil things one right after another, but it was just perfect and great. And it just was definitely an amazing amazing track. Something still to this day. I mean, that's probably as an album goes, probably my favorite album. It just killer. I think that's one that has, I think, Genocide on there too. That's another one of my classics. Well, that riff is just so good. When I hear that, dan, it's just like, you just feel like, fuck yeah, you just want to kill posers everywhere, you know? It's totally amazing, you know? I mean, really that whole album is just, it probably is my favorite album. I also really like, of course, like Seven Gates of Hell is great. Bloodlust, fuck. I mean, so many songs. I mean, the whole Welcome to Hell album is pretty much stellar too. I mean, Black Metal is a great one too. I like that one. I mean, really everything. I mean, it wasn't until you guys got kind of back together that I really gave the Primeval album even a fair share, because I guess to be honest, I was kind of like everybody else where I kind of just didn't really, notice or pay attention that much when it came out. I'm guilty of that too. But then after coming back listening to it, I was like, oh, this is really freaking good album. It just at that time I was just kind of, I was getting more into the death metal stuff, and I just kind of missed out on it, But I mean, I guess for you guys as a question, just I want to know, like, what the hell was in your mind, especially for Mantas back in the day doing that stuff. I mean, I think the earliest stuff you recorded was maybe 79 or somewhere like that. I mean, what the hell was going on? I mean, that had to have been pretty, you guys have to be pretty loony. That's great. Over the top,
He still is. He still is.
You know what it is? I've had this question so many times, and to be brutally honest, that there was no magic formula, there was no contrived actions, there was nothing driving us to say we want to do it. We sort of got together, we had a mutual love of different things. Although Abaddon was into Chris Rea, but we'll not talk about that. And it was just, I don't know, we looked at our heroes, Motorhead, Priest, and you've heard the tale, Sabbath and all that. And, we want to be more satanic than Sabbath, wear more leather and studs than Priest. We want to be dirtier than Motorhead, faster than Motorhead, want to have a bigger stage show than Kiss. And it was all the youthful arrogance of a new band who basically didn't know squat, And I mean, if you go and analyze those fucking albums, the songs are so simple. They were the fledgling attempts of a very, very young songwriter. And I've always said, I was a kid from Newcastle who wrote some tunes, and I was fucking lucky. People dig them. And I think the world was ready for something different. And we just stuffed it in your face. And if it was a case of like, if you love it, great. If you don't love it, great. We didn't give a shit. And that was the attitude in the early days. But there was also, because it happened so fast as well. I mean, and it happened ridiculously quick. There was no slogging up and down the country in the back of a van doing the club shows. We didn't build a following or anything like that. We badgered the guy at Neat Records to put out a single. He put out In League with Satan, obviously covered with Live Like an Angel, like a double A side. And to this day, I'm still convinced he put that out waiting for it to flop. He probably pressed up 1,000 copies. It went ballistic. It was in all the magazines or whatever. magazines were around at the day, which was Sounds magazine, really the broadsheet. We did an interview with Sounds, and the following week they had to extend the letters page to 2 pages because there were so many complaints about us. But at the same time, there were so many sort of things admiring what we were doing, you know, because we were taking a piss out of everything, you know, we just didn't give a shit. I saw an interview that we did on BBC TV in 1982, and I hadn't seen that interview for a long time. And I just looked at it, and I was doing the majority of the talking, and I thought, you arrogant little shit. You know, I just wanted to give myself a slap, you know. It's like, you know, there's a part where I say, oh yeah, everybody will think, here's another band, fucking biggest, the best, the fastest, the loudest. Well, we are, you know. And I was like, you obnoxious little shit, you know. But that's what got us noticed, you know.
But you need that as a young band to be cocky, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was, you know, but I mean, the success was overnight. It was ridiculously quick. Like I say, it was 0 to hero. And I think that also contributed to the implosion as well, you know, which we can talk about later if you want. But, you know, we didn't have a master plan. You know, going into the studio for the first time, we didn't know what the fuck was going on. You know, we're looking at this big thing in front of us with all these things that slide up and down. And I mean, you know, Welcome to Hell, I've had questions about that. You know, it's like at the beginning of Red Light Fever, I think it's Red Light Fever, there's this little sort of violin piece. Yeah. And Cronus says, oh, Demetrius, you want to come to bed? Oh, like, right. And people have said, oh, that's so funny. And I'm like, yeah. That 24-track tape had already been used by somebody else. We were recording on it. That was secondhand fucking tape that we recorded on, you know? And that was there, so we just left it. I don't think anybody had the skills to edit it out, so I think Cronus just did a little bit over the top of it, and it became that, you know? But everything, it was like, I don't know, it was like a baby taking its first step. You know what? It does walk. One foot falls in front of the other, and if it stays on its feet, great. It wobbles, then the other foot. If it wobbles, great, you know? And that's what we were doing. We were literally just running as fast as we can, but stumbling forwards without a plan, really, you know? And I mean, it was, like I say, no master plan. We just went for it, and it was like nobody had seen the pentagram that close before, you know. It was like, there you go, there's a fucking goat, there's a pentagram, it's called Welcome to Hell, you know. It's like, how much more fucking obvious do you want to make it? It was like, you know, I mean, we got the whole thing about the backward masking, and it was like, oh, fuck off. The first song was called In League with Satan. Do you understand the English language, you fucking muppet? And it was like, the album's called Welcome to Hell, idiot. And it's like, backward masking, fuck off, it's there in front of your face. And that's what we did, you know. And I think that's what endeared us to a lot of people. It turned us off a lot of people. But also, like I say, the speed of the success contributed to the downfall as well, easily.
But if I can, I just wanted to underline something Jeff said, because of course, you know, we come from the same place, and I was very aware of what was going on with the guys. And just from a perspective, just outside of what they were doing was, that, you know, I'd seen them. There was some local church hall gigs, like a memorial hall and a Methodist church, and young kids, we'd go there to see, you know, maybe even 30, 40 kids would go on a Friday or something, smuggle some booze in, because it was a church hall. It wasn't like a club, and we weren't old enough to go to a club. And people would put their local bands on, you know, they'd just play if they were musicians. And I saw Venom at both those as 4-pieces, as a 4-piece. And all of a sudden, you know, I wasn't like, you know, one way or the other about it. They were just another bunch of guys who were playing. And all of a sudden, these guys were making an album. And then it was out, and it was like, fuck, that shit doesn't happen to like normal people. It happens to like all the people we go see. It's like, this is so cool. And I remember taking, I think we painted the Venom thing on the back of my drummer had it on the back of his jacket. And then the first chance I got a Welcome to Hell shirt, I had it on. And we went into Newcastle on the weekends where, you know, everybody go out fucking drinking and go to the clubs, and it was all metal everywhere. And people would literally take one step away from you as soon as they saw the Venom thing, because they think that's fucking crazy shit. We don't want anything to do with that. So it was almost like walking around with a flag that went, I want to go to the bar, and it would like part like the Red Sea, and you just walk to the bar and nobody would even speak to you because they think those guys are fucking crazy, you know? And it was something quite remarkable. As Jeff said, you know, they went from just doing that. The next thing, you know, they did a couple of local shows. The next thing, they were Hammersmith Odeon to 2,000 people. You know what I mean? Or in Holland, walking on stage without any fucking instruments to like a fucking thousands of people going fucking nuts. There's a wonderful story Jeff will tell you. Jeff, tell him the one where you were on the stage, I think Zwalla, where you were just sort of waiting and that tech guy walked past just singing Sons of the Satan.
that was Popperinger.
Popperinger.
It was in Belgium. I mean, literally, we were, I mean, as Tony said, I mean, the Venom's first show as a four-piece was my girlfriend's birthday party in a social club in the docks at Wallsend.
And there was still Venom. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
My mum and dad going, oh, my boyfriend's band's coming down. They were all going, oh, lovely, that'll be nice.
Actually, Anita's dad had to pay for damage to the stage because we had fucking homemade pyros, and it was sort of a case of I would be playing, Conrad was playing, and Clive's got a box of matches and he's lighting the fucking pyros on the stage, right? The next show that we did was Westgate Road, the Church Hall. Now, that is where those recordings are from in the box set, the Church Hall recordings with Clive Archer, right? So we were rehearsing in this scummy little fucking place. I mean, after that, we did the Meth, and I think we did Heaven Social Club as well. So it was 4 really horrible little shows that we did. But we went from rehearsing in a horrible church hall one weekend. The following Saturday, we were in a sports hall in Belgium, in Popperinger, in front of about 3,000 kids. It was surreal. And as Tony said, I remember I was standing on stage just looking at this place going, fucking hell. You know, actually, what the fuck are we doing here? And a stagehand walked past. And as he walked past, I don't know, he was carrying something. They were setting the stage up and I was just watching. And as he walked past carrying whatever he had, he was going, somewhere in time we were born, with blood, lust, and he's going. And I looked at this guy and I thought, that's Sons of Satan. How the fuck does he know that? You know, we had no idea. We had no idea what was going on. I don't think Neat Records had any idea. I mean, when we played Hammersmith Odeon, I've been asked, I've done a lot of interviews in this lockdown period, and I've been asked, you know, what's your fondest sort of memory of that period? And I think I've got to say that it's got to be Hammersmith Odeon, because that was a massive achievement. You know, I mean, we were so arrogant that we went down to view the Odeon before we booked it. You know, I was just big enough for our stage show. Bullshit. You know, it was like, but I mean, you know, I still remember after the show going to the manager's house and watching the rushes of the video, like the, you know, the warts and all, everything. And we were just sitting there like a bunch of kids. And it was like, fuck, we've arrived. You know, watching those pyros going off and rewind it, you know, it was like, and I mean, everything on that stage, you know, I mean, the hydraulic riser was made round the corner in an engineering company from just round the corner from Neat Records. The 2 ramps with the 666s on, again, I've told this tale a million times, but I was in a friend's garden painting those as the fucking truck pulled up to take them down to London. So the paint was drying on the way down to London on those fucking ramps. We made them. Everything was, you know, that gig was a wing and a prayer. And our manager, before we went on, Eric, bless him, he said, if anything goes wrong, smash the fucking lot and run for it. That was the remit. That was honestly the remit of the show. And I mean, you know, you've heard the tales of the riser going up and Abaddon sliding off the back. There was more Spinal Tap moments in that one show. It was unreal. I mean,
I'm convinced
that
Spinal Tap was written about Venom, like almost like from all the stories that I've heard, not just from Jeff and Tony, but I mean, literally, I've gathered a lot of stories, and I'm like, this is fucking Spinal Tap, start to finish. Like, I mean, like the whole bit.
It is. I mean, you know, it's, you know, when I saw the movie Spinal Tap, I just sat there going, oh, fucking hell. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Good evening, Cleveland. It was like, we've done that. You know, hello, Cleveland. It was like, fucking hell, man.
Another
Brilliant.
interesting aside about Hammersmith and you know, about the actual band itself and the progression at that time was that Eric, who was the long-term manager and friend, of course, rest in peace, who's gone now, but he even said, you know, he phoned up Prestige Talent, who at the time like had Deep Purple and had all these, and he was trying to get like a cool agent. So he thought, oh yeah, fuck, we got Hammersmith Odeon. And like Jeff just said, you know, the culmination of shows before that were like about 4 shows in church halls to like, you know, some kids who were hanging out who weren't old enough to go to a bar kind of thing. And now they're in Hammersmith and the fucking thing sold out. I mean, 2,000 people, Hammersmith Odeon, you know, fucking everybody from Roxy Music to Bowie to you name it, they all played Hammersmith. So Eric phones up Prestige Talent, talks to the guy there, and he was like, I wondered if you want to come down, see a live show. We're going to be playing. We're interested to see if we could get an agent. Guy goes, yeah, okay. What's the name of the band? Venom. I've never heard of them. He said, yeah, sure, I might swing by. Where are you playing? He went, Hammersmith. He went, whereabouts? He went, Hammersmith. And the guy went, yeah, but where in Hammersmith? He went, to like the Odeon? And he went, what? He said, Hammersmith Odeon. The guy was like, how are you? Hammersmith Odeon? I've never fucking heard of you. He was going, well, we're playing it. And he was like, oh, well, I might pop down and get a ticket. And Eric goes, oh, there's no tickets. It's sold out. The guy's like, it's fucking, what the fuck? So he came down and there he was. Imagine going down as this agent to a band you've never seen of in this sold out fucking venue. They came down from Newcastle and the whole thing blew up like somebody had just set something off in Nagasaki. Was like, what the fuck is happening here? And of course they got them as an agent and that was part of the history. But you know, those kind of amazing events were happening that had never happened to anybody before. Here's a band who not only is remarkably just there in your face, just doing it as it happens, but also not on a major label. You know, this was a band never on a major label. And, you know, you just went through, John, you were talking about the songs, you know, Bloodlust, you know, Seven Gates of Hell. If you think Manitou, Die Hard, the uniqueness about Venom, even in that period, was every single thing they did was of its own value. It wasn't like anything else before. Every single was different to every single before. Every album was different to the album before. Everything they did was like a new invention of themselves. And, you know, we've said this before, and I think the uniqueness also is that if you think of the bands that you like, you can think of the songs that spring to mind that you love from that band. And there's other songs too that you may be on albums. But with Venom, I think we could play for 4 hours solid and still people would be asking for another song that we didn't play because every song has something in it, you know? You know, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible and unique. It's unique. And I think that's the value of the band, still the uniqueness.
I definitely agree with
think
that.
there was a lot of bands from that era. You know, we sort of got lumped into the new wave of British heavy metal thing, and we never felt a part of it. You know, we just didn't feel connected to it. You know, I think again it was that arrogance thing, and we're different. You know, that's why we're fucking black metal and all that kind of crap. But you know, there was a lot of bands from that era, right, who have one great song. And the audience goes nuts for that one song. There's a band that I love from that era, right? In fact, I can think of 3. There's 3 bands from the new wave of British heavy metal, right? All name bands as well. And me and Tony seen one in Italy, right? Now, they've all got one song that the audience goes absolutely fucking nuts for, right? And that's fucking great. It's strange, though, that Venom, for some reason, we've got bagfuls of those things. I don't know. I really don't know. But, you know, being on stage in front of, you know, we've seen the audience get younger over the years, and I think, you know, a lot of that will be the curiosity factor. It'll be like, oh, let's go see these old guys who started everything. But, you know, we get the old brigade there. And I mean, the amount of times I've seen the older fans who, you know, I mean, fucking hell, I'm 60 in about, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks' time. But, you know, the fans who are just a few years behind me, who have followed the band right the way through, you know, kick into some obscure track or a very early track. And I've seen grown men cry.
Yeah.
But I understand that. I understand that because the last time I seen Priest, when it was still Glenn and KK, you know, as soon as they kicked into Sinner, I'm like, oh, fucking hell. You know, it's like, so we're fans as well. So we get that. We know what these people are, you know, but it's still, for me, it's still strange when, you know, I get somebody coming up to me and going, oh, my God, you're the reason I play guitar. You fucking, extreme, and I'm like, thank you. And I really, honestly do not know what to say because I've done what I can with the limited ability that I have. And God's honest truth, those songs on Welcome to Hell, those were my first attempt at writing songs, right? I bought a book called Improvising Rock Guitar. Right? I'd never had a guitar lesson in my life. I bought this book, like a paperback book, and it had a flexi disc inside. I didn't even know who the fucking guitarist was that wrote it. I bought this book, I don't know, probably 77, 78, something like that. There's 2 tracks on it called Snaker and Homage to Hendrix. So one side of the flexi disc had the backing track and the other side had the full thing on with the solo. From that book, I learned a movable power chord. I was like, wow, this is cool. I can go that way, I can go across that way, I can go up and down. Oh, just chords everywhere. Brilliant. Power chord. I still use that today. That's my power chord, right? I also learned the first position of the pentatonic scale. That was it. First position, the pentatonic scale. There's 5 notes in that scale. That's it. Forget it, right? As soon as I had that under my belt, I was trying to write my own songs. First song I ever wrote was Red Light Fever. And then obviously back then there was no Pro Tools, no Logic, no Cubase, nothing. So you couldn't look at arrangements or anything. I was recording stuff on my dad's cassette recorder, you know, and none of it was then rearranged or anything like that. I would go into rehearsals and go, I've got a new song, It's called Angel Dust, it's called Angel Dust. All excited like a young kid, you know. As a side note, the guitarist who wrote that book became one of my favorites. But years later, I had no idea who he was. There's a young guy on the front of this book, and I'm looking and going, don't know who he is. The guy's name was Pat Thrall. And years later, he did the greatest fucking 80s rock album ever with Glenn Hughes and Thrall.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. He did the Hughes and Thrall album.
Wow.
That was the man who taught me the power chord and the pentatonic scale. So he's responsible for black metal. There you go. His fucking fault.
It's on him. It's on him.
Yeah. Pat Thrall and KK down it. It's your fucking fault. That's why we're in this mess now.
It is a mess.
I can't get out of it. Fucking hell.
Cool.
That's awesome. So let's go to Alex next.
Okay.
Well, I mean, where do I start with Venom? You know, as a kid, the 3 important heavy metal bands for me was Priest, Maiden, and Motorhead. So, you know, I remember as a kid seeing Unleashed in the East, and I immediately was attracted to the way they looked. I was just like, this has got to be good, you know? And the same thing with Maiden. You seen the album covers were Motorhead, Overkill. And the thing is, I thought those 3 bands were like the most extreme, aggressive thing I ever heard. Well, long story short, you know, fast forward a little bit, I think it might have even been actually Cream Magazine. It might have been a little tiny photo of Venom in there because, you know, Cream Magazine was all like the popular, you know, rock and hard rock stuff at the time. And I saw that, and then there was a guy in my school that had a cassette tape. You know, he had like different songs on it and stuff. And the first song I heard was In League with Satan. So, you know, I'm seeing the imagery. I hear this music. Then I heard, I think maybe Bursting Out or something like that. And I was like, this is faster than Motorhead. This is more extreme than all these bands combined. And there's that darkness of Black Sabbath. And of course, Venom is, you know, I was attracted to the darkness and the aggression in the music that I wasn't hearing, you know. And like I said, like seeing Priest and Motorhead and Maiden, that was kind of like the stepping stones of the kind of music that I was looking to hear. And I could say, I could definitely speak for John and Robin, I'm sure too, is like in the early death metal scene in the 80s, really all of us are pretty much modeled after Venom, you know. We were just trying to kind of do the same thing, just trying to take things to another level of the darkness in the music.
Yeah, kind of just push the limit a little more, you know?
Yeah, and when I think back to, like, you guys were talking about songs, like instead of having that one song that everybody looks for live, you know, especially for me, Welcome to Hell and Black Metal, those two records, every song is a fucking hit. Every song. It's kind of like you compare it to, it's like the Beatles of heavy metal, where every song is fucking top notch.
A Hard Day's Night.
You know? And
they're not from Liverpool, mate.
but you know, it's you know, I can't even you know, start to express, you know, how much of an influence that, you know, Venom has been in my life.
Wow.
And also, Tony, you fucking kick ass, man. I love the Venom Inc. record. Fantastic record.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, you know, every time you guys are on tour in the States, I'm on tour, or
yes, I know.
we kind of cross paths on festivals in Europe. Like you guys played the day before or some shit like that. So I've never got to see.
I've been fucking trying to see you for 4 years, and I can't even fucking see you. Well, you either just gone or we're going, and you're coming. So
yeah.
Do that, but
hopefully,
I think
2022.
Yes, let's tour together.
Yeah, future
Oh,
tour.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that's it, though, Al. It's kind of what I was saying. You know, at this stage, we have played, you know, with Jeremie or just with Abadabadon. We've played every song of Welcome to Hell, and that was one of the things that I really was keen to do, because I thought, you know, fans have never heard Red Light Fever played live, and we played it, and they went. It was like, I don't know, it was like discovering something that never been discovering a spaceship under the pyramid in Giza.
Yeah.
It was like people were like, no fucking way, you know. And for the younger fans which are there, it's great that they're getting to just feel this shit, and they think, oh, these guys do this all the time. But for, like Jeff said, for a, you know, a 50-something-year-old fan, a girl or a guy who, you know, that record, every groove has meant something to them, to live it when they never thought they would, it just creates an overwhelming emotion, you know. And
absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing. We played upstate Washington, and I think it could have been something like Poison the first time we played Poison. And we came off stage at the end of the show, and it was a kind of cool, small kind of club. And I was booling with my stuff, and I went past this big old guy, had this huge, like a bit like John, had this huge white beard, looked like Father Christmas, and he had tears on his face. And I went, sorry, but I just get past you. And he went, yeah. And I went, you okay? And he just didn't speak. So I went out, came back in. About 3 or 4 trips later, I went across. I went, are you sure you're okay? Do you need me to get someone? He went, you did this. And I went, what did I do? And he went, you played Poison. He said, the last time I heard that song, I was like 15 years old or whatever it was. And he said, when you started to play it, my whole body just exploded, because I never thought I'd ever hear it in front of me. And that is what the band is about. That's what the music is about. It's
I think you guys are doing that now with the new stuff. Like, for instance, tracks like Black and Roll, and it's an Ave Satanis. You know, like really strong songs, man. It's you know, I haven't heard that in a while. You know, to hear that kind of songwriting again.
I think that was key. You know, it's with Jeff's writing. You know, when we were composing, because I didn't want to do an album because we were good just touring live once Abaddon was with us, and it was like, let's just go through the whole catalog, not worry about new material. Just let everybody experience every single song you ever did in some way, shape, or form. We do Dead of the Night, Lady Lust. I said, let's flip all the singles and just capture all that stuff.
Yeah.
And when Jeff was composing for the new album, he got to a point and he was sending stuff and going, is it okay? I was like, yeah, Jeff, just keep going. And then he went, look, am I going in the right direction? I mean, is this, start to question himself. I went, Jeff, you were Mantas. You are Mantas. You will be Mantas. That's all you have to be. You don't have to look for anything else. That's who you are. You play it, you write the way you do it.
Just being honest, that's all.
That's be honest, exactly. Just be you. And that's what the beauty is. So if it's simplistic, it's simplistic. But it works so fucking well. It just works so well. So thank you.
And thank you guys for still doing this, for the fans, like I said, unfortunately, I haven't seen you guys as Venom Inc., but I watched the videos, the YouTube stuff, and it sounds fucking amazing.
Well, we did have an amazing, it's very kind of you, but we did have an amazing experience. We hit San Francisco on a tour, and a guy got in touch with me, Brian Wu, and they used to run a magazine with Sam Crest called Whiplash. And of course, he's part of the whole scene, and he's ran the Metallica fan club and everything else. And he messaged me and he said, oh, you guys are playing whatever the club was in Frisco. And he said, I'm going to come down to the show. I went, oh my God, that'd be so great to see you and stuff. And he went, yeah, I've got some gifts. He said, do you mind if you put like me +1? Because I want to bring a buddy down. So we go down, we play the show. Someone comes down on stage while I'm wrapping my cables. And so I do you want to come upstairs? Because James Hetfield wants to say thank you. And when we went upstairs, the other bands on the tour said, wow, he just was headbanging throughout the whole show, playing the drums and playing all the solos. And he just went to Jeff when, he was like, Jeff was like, what fucking great songs, great songs. And that was really heartwarming to see that even, at that level of where they are, it still comes down to the music and how it makes you feel, that's what it's all about.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, Tony says that all the time when we play on stage. He'll be like, it doesn't matter what version of this band you decide that you want to support. This one, that one, all of them, both of them, none of them, fucking whatever. It doesn't matter which one you choose to support. Thank you for supporting it. And if you close your eyes and if the music moves you, then that's it. That's all we're here to do is just create music and have a mood and have it touch you. So we play these songs, like you said, like Dead of the Night or Lady Lust or some of these tunes where they're like, what are they playing? Like you get off stage and they're like, I can't fucking believe you did that song. And I'm like, me neither. Right?
Yeah. And it's crazy, all these young kids nowadays that are discovering all the, the early stuff. They want to find out what the roots of everything is and the real stuff.
For sure.
And it's amazing when I meet these kids, on tour, how young they are and how, they really do their homework, even like the 70s stuff that we all grew up with, the 70s hard rock and all, how they're, so into all that stuff. And it's amazing, the music will live on, and
it's
great music will.
However it makes you feel, then that's what gets celebrated, and that's where Tony said we have people come up to us. Like we did a South American tour. It was incredibly brutally taxing. It was 30 in 30 days. We did 33 flights. It was over the top.
I know all about it.
Yeah. We all do.
I did Asia in 2019. Boy, that was brutal. That was even worse than South America.
We had people that were shaking. They were like, we never thought we'd ever see Venom. And to them, I wasn't an Abaddon, I wasn't a Kronos, I wasn't a Mantas. I was the drummer of that fucking outfit that just made him feel whatever he felt.
Yeah.
And that was like such a big emotion for so many of these people who never thought they'd ever see us. I mean, Venom hasn't been to a lot of places in South America.
Yeah,
we have,
and you do your best to serve the song, and
I mean that's it. I'm just a fucking servant, man. I mean, I do the best I can to do my best Abaddon because that's what people want to hear, not me. I mean, I come through no matter what, but they are there to hear these songs in the grip of what it is. What the emotion is. The emotion was this and that, and then more of this. There's so much fuck you behind all of that playing. You could tell they didn't give a shit. You could tell that they didn't give a shit. and the first two.
And you know, if I'm in a bad mood, I put on Venom and I feel much better that day.
Yes, yeah.
Mood
Where's
ring.
the anomaly? The anomaly, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I had a question that someone actually gave to me, one of the viewers of the show, for I guess Tony and for Mantas also. This is a question for the Tony Dolan years. It seems like the band barely did many shows, like they did 20 shows for the Primeval and like 0 shows for the Wastelands and Temples of Ice. Why? That was just a question that Chris Allo had, who was going to join us today and came down with some kind of a bug. So I figured I'd throw that at you.
Well, I think that, I think we went out on the Primeval tour to do that. And then there was a lot of kind of behind the scenes politics that myself and Jeff were not included in or involved in.
Okay.
And all of a sudden we found that they'd put us on another tour towards the end. Before we did Temples of Ice, they put us on a tour where we were with Atrophy and Sacred Reich. And we were kind of wedged in the middle of both bands. And I couldn't understand why they were doing that. It seemed to be winding itself down. I don't want to badmouth anybody.
Okay.
I'm sure Jeff can cover the ground that I've done, but we had political problem with the drummer, and he was more tour managing. And what was happening was you had a lot of American bands like Nasty Savage and the like wanted to come over, Nuclear Assault, and they'd kind of started using their management thing to bring these bands across, and they found that they could take money off them and put them on tour. So they would come over. They were fresh out of the grass. They'd put them on tour. They'd take all the stuff from them, the money from them that they could, and then send them back home. And then they really came back again. And he just used us to put us on tour. Then he could justify tour managing and making money from that. So, in all of the time we were there, we were never paid for any live show once. We never got any merchandise money. We never got paid any publishing for anything. We never got any part of any album advances. And these were our friends who were supposed to be managing us with the guys collecting all the dough. And I think we then did Temples of Ice, and then there was no shows. And it was like, are we going out? Yeah, we'll plan something, and nothing happened. Okay. And then we were into Wastelands, and the same thing happened again. And I think by the time it got to there, we were on a tour. I think the last tour we were on, we were about to hit Berlin, and it was just the next day the Berlin Wall was coming down. So we had a show. So kind of a big event. We were on our way there, and I was sitting at the back of the bus, and Jeff came to the back of the bus, or vice versa. And he said, we looked at each other and went, shall we just go home? Because we just felt there's something wrong here. It doesn't feel right. And that's what we did. So we went and just said, take us back. And that was the last time we went out. But I think, I don't know about Jeff, but for me, just to close, is that, Venom was about a feeling. It was about, even when we go on stage now, for me, I walk around like a fucking nutcase before I go on and stuff. And people go like, why do you wander around? I go, because I'm ready for a fight. When I go on stage, I'm getting into a fucking cage. They can love me, they can hate me, but they're going to know I was fucking there. Yeah. Because that's what the music needs. It needs that energy, that vibrance. You can't walk through it. You can't cabaret this shit. It either means something and you throw it down, or it doesn't. So, that's what we leave ourselves on stage. We leave our skin and our blood on stage and give it everything we got. If that doesn't turn people on, it doesn't. But we don't give any short measure. And I think at that point we both felt this isn't happening anymore. We don't feel it anymore, and we didn't want to flog a dead horse. So we went, let's just stop it.
Okay.
I got a quick question for the both of you. How did you guys reconnect and get back together after all those years? After, because I guess the Primeval record after that,
Yeah, I mean, the whole, I totally concur with everything that Tony said. I would have used a lot more swear words and called it bollocks than that, like. But No, it's the thing. I mean, Tony's heard me say this a load of times, right? And people will get sick of me saying this, like, but 3 years ago, I fucking died. So I don't give a shit what I say anymore. I really don't give a fucking flying fuck. It's like, I'll speak the truth and that's it. Do you know what it is? I've been sent screenshots and stuff of fucking threads off fucking Facebook and all this kind of bollocks where Abaddon's still having a fucking go in these threads, right? I'll get to your question in a minute. But, he's such a fucking twat that, they're all fucking hidden from my view and from Tony's view. You can see the threads, you can see what's being said, and then somebody will answer, and they're answering him. I got sent the fucking screenshots, and I was like, at least when I go live on a Monday and Friday on Facebook, I'll go, you're a cunt. It's like, I don't fucking care anymore. I'm sick of pandering to these people. And what was your question?
It was how you guys reconnected and got back together. You and Tony.
I mean, we've always sort of been there for each other, But what had happened was I had a band called Drill, and this is going back to how I sort of called Tony. We had this band called Drill, and my drummer and my bass player were based in Germany. Now, we got asked to do this little charity show at a local rock bar for a DJ who sadly died many, many years ago. He was called Little Jeff. He was well known around the area. So we got asked to do the show. Would you do a charity show, and would you have some giveaways for it? We're like, yeah, of course we would, yeah. So I called the guys in Germany. They couldn't make it, right? One was on tour, and the drummer was playing a festival. He was sessioning for another band. He had slipped on the way up the ramp, fell and broke his fucking arm. So he couldn't do it either. So anyway, cut a long story short, after calling a few people, I got in touch with Anton from Venom, right? Now, Anton had just left Venom and told me all about it, right? Where he left his brother, he doesn't even speak to Kronos anymore, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I called Anton. I says, look, mate, do you fancy doing a little show? And he was like, yeah, what is it? So he came, we went up to his rehearsal place. We rehearsed with him. The other guitarist, Andy, found the bass player friend of his, blah, 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 went in there, blah, blah, blah. Right, so this night at this show, we played black metal for a laugh. And I sung it, right? We didn't even rehearse it. We just kicked into it. Well, me and Anton knew it. The bass player had learned it. That was it. 2 seconds, my battery's going low. So anyway, I'll keep talking. I'm just gonna put my thing in. So
Nice
anyway,
chair.
after that,
Lovely chair.
After that, people started saying, it's like, oh, fucking hell, Anton and Mantas together. Is there going to be any fucking Venom related stuff? And we were like thinking, we could do something. And at that point, it was just going to be to piss Conrad off. So what happened was we got together and decided, yeah, let's do something. And the first person who became involved with us was Mike Hickey, right? And I wrote a song which became called Hell to the Holy. I'm just going to plug this in, lads. And Tony named the song Hell to the Holy when he came up for the rehearsals. So what had happened was I was talking to Anton and Mike Hickey one night, and we were like, well, we need a vocalist. And I went, well, I'll call Tony. I says, but he had a fucking nasty experience with a fucking Venom thing before. And, this is sort of Venom related, so I don't know. But anyway, I called Tony. I says, look, we're going to do this. And, it was like, we're thinking, well, we're going to call it Primeval, whatever, It morphed into Empire of Evil. Tony came up for rehearsals. We kicked into that track that I had written. Mike wasn't there, obviously, he's in America. Mike had to bow out because he was too busy with Joe Bonamassa. He's Joe's guitar tech.
Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, cool. So it became the three of us, Anton, Tony, and myself. So that was all on the phone call I made to Tony. Yeah, but what Tony says was, right, let's do it. But if we're going to do it, let's fucking do it. Let's just go out there and fucking do it. And the first show that was booked was 22 shows in a row, off the belt, no days off, in the back of a van in America. And it was like, great, wonderful. And we both said at our age, if we can do this, we can fucking do anything. And at that point, then Anton bowed out. So we got another guy in called Mark Jackson. The band would change the name to Empire of Evil because there was some fucking other band kicked off and went, we're called Primeval and all. I was like, oh, fuck off.
yeah.
Right? So we changed the name to Empire of Evil. And then lo and behold, 2 weeks later, these fuckers just disappeared out up their own asses or whatever it was. I don't know what the fuck happened. I'm not interested. But that's how me and Tony reconnected for the band. And then obviously, much further on, there came the offer to do the Keep It True festival, which I refused. I said to Tony, I said, I'm not setting foot on stage with that man ever again. I says, no, I'm not doing it. But it was Tony that, I mean, Tony can take up the tail if he wants, but Tony persuaded me to do it. I was like, no, not at all. I mean, even when I did agree, I says, right, here's the fucking conditions. You know, and Francesco La Rosa was sitting side stage waiting to jump on the kit if he fucked up. Because I said to Tony, I says, if he fucks up, I says, I'll personally walk over and I'll tell him to leave the fucking stage, and Francesco jumps back on. Francesco was our drummer in Empire of Evil at that point. But no, after that, the rest is history. He had his fucking chance, he blew it, and that was it. But that's how the whole thing came together, if you like. There you go.
Awesome.
Cool.
Always a crazy ride with you guys, I guess, you know?
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah. And you know, the other thing is we've got no breaks either. So
I like no days off.
no, we never know when it's going to stop.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go with Denis for a little while.
Okay, I can go next for sure. Before I talk about my personal experience with Venom, I want to talk about the relationship with my band Agression and Venom Inc. as well. Like Agression had the chance to open for Venom and Slayer in 1985 in Montreal. Wow. And we were like huge Venom fans, right? We totally love Slayer as well, but what happened that night is like 2-3 weeks before Mantas left Venom. So imagine it's the same as like when Ace Frehley left Kiss, or when like Bill Ward doesn't play for Black Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, for me, Black Sabbath with no Bill Ward, it's no Black Sabbath, right? So
Yeah.
So Venom totally sucked that night. They were like the worst band I have ever seen live.
Oh, fuck.
And Slayer ripped them a new asshole.
Well, yeah.
So, and I'm 19 years old, right? 1985. Of course, I'm drinking, partying backstage, right? And I still don't know who these two guitar players they had to replace as Jeff, but you know, I just said to them like, "Wow, that wasn't really good." So we had a brawl backstage in Montreal with Kronos and Abaddon and those two fucking guys, and like the other band there, like Jeff Hanneman and Kerry King was just like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And the guys from Razor were there. So since they're Canadian, they were taking our side. Anyway,
Nice.
that's my old school like Venom stories. Then I got the chance to open for Venom Inc. In Vancouver with Tony, Jeff, and like Abaddon.
Yeah.
They were fucking great. They played Warhead. It was so powerful, like tack, 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 Warhead. Fucking amazing. And my last Aggression story is actually this year, March 16, in like, 12 days? We were supposed to play with Massacre and Venom on tour and be in England. And
Yeah.
all that went to hell.
That all went fucking to hell real quick, didn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks,
So-
Cam.
And so my personal experience with Venom is, I always say that line, and I'm going to say it till I die. Kiss started the job, Venom finished it. After that, I was not the same kid anymore, right? And we had like in Montreal, we were all really, really big on heavy metal. like early on, we knew about Priest, Motorhead, we knew about like Tigers of Pantang and all the bands, right? So I went to the record store, 1981. It was Christmas and near Christmas, and my grandma gave me like $40 ahead of Christmas so I can go and buy like, you know, a record at that store, right? So I walk in there and I see like Welcome to Hell. Like I look at the cover, I look at the back, and they 3 guys like standing by a lake with a freaking axe. I'm like, okay, I gotta get this, right? And it was the Neat Records version, and I don't know why, but the vinyl was super thick. Like you could almost like cut yourself. Like
Yeah.
It was so thick. Like it was almost making the experience even like more evil, right? Like their record is sharp. It's like right. So, and like I got hooked right away. I put Sounds of Satan and Welcome to Hell and like, you know, Mayhem. Like the entire thing was like out of this world for me. And like I learned, you know, like Jeff was saying that he learned to play guitar like with that guy in the book. I learned playing guitars with 3 guys: Johnny Ramone, Jeff, and so it's Johnny Ramone, Jeff, and Ace Frehley. That's the 3 guys that are really. And I you know, back then there was no tablatures. There was no way to like, and it's not like Venom recordings was like super clear. Like black metal was very like lots of reverb and shit, right? So then I had to realize that first, like Jeff was down tuned to like C sharp. Like at first, it was hard for me to like totally get the riff exactly the way it was. So, but I learned those records like the day it came out. Like black metal came not too long after Welcome to Hell. There was not like a long period of time between both records, I think, if I remember
82,
correctly.
yeah. 81, 82, yeah.
And black metal was even like crazier, heavier, like you know, like come on, like, you know, like you're a young kid and like, you know, like, and at first I was the only one in my town like kind of listening to that, and then we were 4 and then 10 and then 200 and then 1,000 and like, you know, it just kept growing. But like I'll say my favorite like Venom song now, I guess. My favorite all-time Venom song is Don't Burn the Witch. And it's because the way that the riff is being played, and it took me a while to get that run like perfectly. And when I saw like Jeff live, like, and I was able to get video, I was trying to understand like, exactly what his fingers were doing. But, yeah, Don't Burn the Witch is definitely like my favorite Venom song. And my second favorite Venom song is actually Off at War with Satan. It's called Rip Ride. It's a really good. He's gonna show me how to do it properly.
Yeah. Well, actually, Dennis, what he's gonna do is he's gonna tune up and then he's gonna get you to play the video so he can learn it.
Wow.
You know, it's interesting, Dennis, just saying about Welcome to Hell, you know, because and what I love about it, that particular piece, is because if you think of all of the albums, they'd have this la, 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 they have a lovely intro, a nice guitar piece. Every album, we've got to have a cool intro. And you put the needle on Welcome to Hell and it goes, it just starts in the middle of nowhere. And you're like, what the fuck just happened there? And I always love that about it. It's like no finesse. It's like you came in halfway through a rehearsal and they threw a brick in your face the minute you opened the door. And
it almost sounds cut in.
Yeah. over to Mantas and his guitar.
Oh, I'm just waiting for something. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm just waiting for something.
No, we're all going to wait for you. You can feel the pressure. Sorry, carry on.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'll be putting the fucking hat out in a minute. There you go.
Oh my God, you're being attacked by a squirrel. On the top of your head, there's a squirrel trying to burrow its way in. Look.
Oh, right.
Amazing.
I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't a fucking clue. I don't know what I'm doing. What's
Sorry,
this?
Dennis, you were saying, carry on.
Yeah. So, and my third favorite like Venom song is 1000 Days in Sodom.
Oh,
Just
Hear it.
yeah, I think what I really enjoy about Venom is those are actual songs. There's a verse, like a pre-chorus, a chorus, 5 solo sections. Of course, when At War with Satan came out, like with the super long song, like I felt I was listening to like like Gates of Delirium, or like some of those like super like Rush 2012 or like that.
well, that's
most
that's
pissed off
exactly
version.
what it was then.
it was.
That was Conrad's. That was Conrad's 2112. That's what he.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. I mean, basically, we just couldn't decide when to stop. It just went on and on and on. So no. I mean, it was the whole 2112 thing. I mean, Conrad was a massive Rush fan. I was a massive Rush fan, like early Rush, and we both loved the album All the World's a Stage, and obviously 2112. So essentially, At War with Satan was his baby. I mean, there's a lot of my riffs in there, like, but it was his baby. But it's funny because when I've been doing these Facebook playthroughs, like the live thing, I've went back and rediscovered a lot of songs off At War with Satan and Possessed, and re-recording them and then playing them through. There's some pretty cool stuff there, and I think a lot of it was let down by the production side of it, But
that was actually my question. Like maybe for Jeff, I have two questions. First one is, at the end of black metal, there's a little section of At War with Satan at the end, and the sound, the production is very much alike the rest of black metal. When At War with Satan came out, like the sound was different. It was more polished. Like it I don't know if the tuning changed, but like how come like the production was much different on the At War with Satan album?
I think, to be perfectly honest, I mean, if you really listen to the albums, the production is different on every single album. But I mean, at that point, at the end of black metal, I mean, we had just started putting At War with Satan together. So it was just the idea to give people a teaser. So we just recorded it in amongst the black metal session, and that's basically why it sounds like that, So the full song hadn't been actually recorded at that point. So it was just like, okay, we've got this teaser, we've got so far into the song, just let's fade it out, It was like, I don't know. It was something we're always trying to think of something that, other people hadn't done, and it was like, who puts a teaser of the next album on the new album? It was like, and even, on Welcome to Hell, we're possessed by all that is evil, the death of your God we demand. Those lyrics, I had wrote those lyrics, fucking hell. Oh, must have been 79. Those lyrics were written way back then. And the actual riff for Possessed was, so it's going to be, look at me, Satan's child. So that was the original Possessed, which became became Manitou.
Nice.
Yeah. So years later, we dug that riff back out. But yeah, I mean, that was the riff that I had for those lyrics. I didn't have the full song finished. I just had that idea. All the lyrics were done though, and like I say, that's why they went on the albums before Possessed. But yeah, I think we're always doing that stuff like that. And the other thing I liked about what we did, looking back on it, was that back then all the singles were singles. they weren't on the album. So we didn't take a song off the album and say this is the single. You know, they were all new songs. And I suppose it was just because, you know, we're churning out the songs all the time, you know.
It's kind of
So-
what I just to say to Dennis, it's kind of what I was saying before, Dennis, as well. Is like that the way Neat Records worked was the engineer there, Keith Nickel, who kind of did everybody. He did everything, you know. And when I was recording, we were recording, I think, a single or whatever it was for Atom Crap, my band pre. I was in Venom. And I remember going, I can't remember what they'd put out. They'd put something, it might have been Bursting Out, Die Hard or something, or Bloodlust or something. But anyway, when we were in there, I said to Keith, I want that sound. Give me that fucking sound because I fucking love that particular sound you got. And he was like, I can't. And I went, why? He went, because it's Venom. And I said, or do they not like you doing their sound? He went, I don't fucking know what it is. He said, every time they come in, they plug in and we just start. And I think that's what you mean. You know, you were saying the production values on black metal were different to the ones on what we're seeing. Why, when the kind of albums kind of melded themselves with the intro thing? But it was just because every time they went in, it was like, right, let's start again. So there was no template for following. There was no theme to follow. This is what we've got. Turn it up and let's just play it. And so if that was a slightly different amp or a slightly different setting, or nobody worried about it, they just played and that's what you got. And I think, you know, when bands these days are looking for that audio consistency, that's cool. But what was so unique about Venom was, as I said earlier, every single thing is not like the thing before. And that is liberating, you know. You don't have to follow, you don't have to put everything in the same box. You can just do whatever the fuck happens and it sounds like it sounds. And I love that liberation of it, you know.
Yeah, and like all those EP also sounded amazing, like Die Hard and Warhead and Manitou. Like you know, it was good for us because it was giving us some product in between albums, right? So we were able to keep like buying stuff.
Yeah.
My other question was like, so of course, like after the three first album, Primeval was my favorite Venom record. Like I thought like there was energy back in the band with like Tony coming and singing, and I loved Venom Inc. You know, like my personal like I said, Venom to me is like Kiss and like it's like Black Sabbath, and there's no difference to me. It's just as big of a band as these other bands. And you know, I will always buy the other Venoms. Like I will always listen because I'm curious to what they
Of course.
and somehow Venom Inc. works better for me. It is what it is, but like it's the way it planned out. So my next question is for Jeremie. Like now you're playing like Venom Inc. Like what is the most, which song is the most fun for you to play as a drummer? Like which one do you like it? You know, you see it in the set and you're like, all right, I can't wait for that song.
Man, you're gonna shoot me if I say all of them. I know you're gonna shoot me. You're gonna want me to pinpoint it down to at least 2 or 3. But all of them really. All the classic stuff is, I don't know. I look at these guys, Jeff and Tony, outclass younger musicians that I played with. They're up there outclassing them by energy, by technical prowess, by heart. I mean, they're up there doing it. So I'll have these moments where I look around, I'm maybe playing Countess Bathory or I'm playing Bloodlust, and I'm like, I can't fucking believe this is happening. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is these moments that, you read about, you read about them in magazines. Or if they don't have magazines anymore, never mind. You read about it when you're scrolling.
Scrolling on Facebook.
But that's one of those moments. I mean, Bloodlust is one of my favorites, man, because what Abaddon was doing was like some Ghost Note shit in there. Totally probably by mistake, or maybe it was on purpose, but on purpose mistake, or we never know from those old recordings. And to really be able to just throw it into it and throw as much energy as I can into it, and then when the songs end and I'm fucking heaving, and I don't play drums like that. I don't play drums like that in the Absence. With the Absence, I'm like, it's technically proficient. I'm ripping and rolling and everything is going well and smooth. With this, I don't know what happened. The first gig I played with them, Well, the first rehearsal we did, I broke 5 sticks and I broke the top of my snare head. And like I blew through it. I was like, oh my God. And then after the first tour, I had broken something like 10 cymbals and like all of my sticks that I brought. Don't play drums like that. This music made me do that. Like we started the first rehearsal, it was like bang. And then like a fucking like a ball of light goes off, which is amazing because I don't know, we're just up there breathing it in and being that and becoming whatever it is that Venom is. So I would say all of them for me personally. I love it. I love the new stuff. Playing Metal We Bleed is amazing. Playing War is amazing. Playing all of the new shit is great because I'm really tempered in playing with a metronome and playing in line. So those songs afford me that lifestyle. And then we play the old songs, and then that affords me to play loose as a goose and fucking whatever we may come back on a one and bam, and we hit. And then there's that. And then everyone goes, oh, you know, us three, all three of us are like, yes, you know? So I would say probably all of them. I know I already said that like 10 times.
Hey, fair answer. I probably feel the same way.
I can't pick one, man. I love them all. I'm honored to be just even playing any of them, let alone all of them. I'm super
it was
thankful
like
for it.
when we did some of the things that we because we just go out and lay it down, and sometimes we know we're doing it the way we want to do it when other people step in and say stuff like we did Bloodstock, and there's just the 3 of us setting up our shit. We don't have any technicians. We don't have anybody running around looking for a towel or an orange for us. So we just get on, do our thing, get it together, Jeremie glues everything together and tapes himself up as hard as he can because he knows by the end of the first song, he's broken everything. And so we just got ourselves all tight. And all the bands have been in there, thrown down with all of their fancy stuff. We had a backdrop, that was it. We went on and played our set, we came off, and as we walked off, the old technicians on stage were like, that's how you fucking do it. That's rock and roll. And we were like, oh, thanks so much. And then when we came down, people were going crazy. We went for the signing and they were going, my God, fucking hell. And even people backstage would be going, do those guys have to be that loud? There was only the 3 of us, and we were going, were we loud? They were going, fucking hell, man. They said, did you not say the whole site came to see you? Because like, what the fuck is happening over there?
We finished like 7 or 8 minutes early at that show. You remember? Like we ended early. They're like, you got more time. And we're like, it's good.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, it's like being at the old Ritz in New York when we played there, and we walk in and the guy goes, all right, so Tony, so this is the thing, blah, blah, blah. We got the da, but we got the curfew thing. And I was like, cool, that's cool. And he went, so you're all right with that? I went, yeah, I'm fine with curfews, whatever. And he said, so you get it though, you know what's going to happen? I was like, yep. I said, I guess you got curfew. He went, yes, so that's what time you finish. I went, oh no, we just finished when we finished. And he was like, yeah, but you can't go beyond 10 o'clock. That's the curfew. I said, okay. So he said, you're good to finish at 10. I went, if we finish at 10, it's good, but we might not finish at 10. I can't guarantee you. And so he was going, well, if you don't finish at 10, man, we're going to have to like close you down. I went, that's up to you. That's okay. I'll do my best, but it just is what it is. We came off at 20 to 12 and they still didn't shut us off because the guy was going, can you finish? And I was like, well, do you want to stop the crowd? I said, nah, we'll just keep going. And what happens is, that's happened a lot of times. We played Turkey and the guy went, it's a hard curfew. I went, I don't know what that means. What does a hard curfew mean as opposed to a curfew? He said, if you don't fucking stop, the cops are going to come and shut down. I went, okay. So he said, so you'll be finished? I went, probably not. And so we go on stage, they turned the lights off, and then they turned the power off, and then the police came in, and we did In League with Satan with just Jeremie playing drums, and we all a cappellaed it with the crowd. We sung the whole fucking songs while the cops all sat there and went, these guys are fucking crazy. Get out of this place. So we went, no, we're not going. But it's those kind of moments where you realize that we're not being dicks. We're not being pedantic. We don't ask for anything. We're very polite to everybody. We're very grateful to everybody. But when it comes to our time on stage, it's like, You know, if you want to be the one to come on and try and take it down, then that's up to you. But it's not going to happen, because that's the moment. That's why we're there. That's all points head north. And this is our moment. This is the apex of why we exist. And so that's between us and the crowd, and there are no rules. You know, nobody's stopping that. And that's a wonderful moment, you know, to experience it on record as a 16-year-old guy or girl who feels alienated by wherever they live because nobody gets what they're about, to then find yourself in a community of 100 or a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand who will feel that at the same time while you're on stage is something you just can't bottle up. You can't, there's no price on that. It's wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah, it's true though. True for sure.
All right, hey guys, it's an honor to be here with you. Can't wait to see you guys out in Canada. Like looking forward to see Venom Inc. So thank you.
We got to do some more shows. We got to do some shows. Because
Oh, we have to do shows.
Texas tour.
Let's do it.
And next here we have Robin.
Me?
Yeah,
I have to
you.
go after that wonderful speech.
Yes.
I'm like, that was so good.
I know.
I mean, I don't know what to say after what everybody said. I mean, everybody touched base on everything. I always was the same as everybody. You know, I grew up and, you know, with all the same music that everybody did and loving all of that. And of course, as usual, I have to throw in Metallica to my speech because, you know, that's just how I roll. And I mean, my main thing with Metallica and Venom is watching Metallica always give props to Venom and the Venom shirts and the tour. And that made me super more interested in the band, even though I heard of them before, but that really put it, you know, up, especially like seeing like the, you know, the Venom shirts and like, it's like, whoa, what, that looks amazing. You know, even if it was so simple, it was still
Powerful.
amazing,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm not going to name my top songs. I'm just going to rattle off a few that I super love. And that's what I'm going to do. Of course, you know, the like In League with Satan, Black Metal, Welcome to Hell,
Yep.
Warhead, Countess Bathory,
Yes.
1000 Days of Sodom, Seven Gates of Hell, and I love Witching Hour. Like that's like one of my favorites. I play in a cover band and we do that song, and I love playing that song, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun. I just
I agree. It's a lot of
and
fun to play that song in
especially
particular.
like that, like at the end you're just like, you could just go like
Yeah,
crazy.
nuts. You go crazy. Yeah.
It's just so good. So yeah,
You know that.
and I want to like, I don't want to take up the time. Basically, yes, I love Venom. These are the songs that I love the mostest, I should say. But my question is, like, you know, we're talking about like all the old Venom and everything, but I read that you guys are getting ready to maybe record, or you have like a bunch of songs for the new record.
Yeah.
And I would
Okay.
like to maybe hear something about that, because we haven't touched on that since, you know, because I don't want to hear myself talk. I want to hear you guys. So
There's 24 songs at the
24.
moment.
Wow.
Yeah, 24 songs, all at first preliminary
double album?
mix stage. So, I mean, Tony usually comes over to me in Portugal. Yeah, I'm in my studio at the minute. There we are, studio. He normally comes over here to do like the vocal recordings, but obviously with this pandemic bullshit, we don't know what the hell's going on. So we're a little bit stuck at the moment, but you know, I've got lyrics, I'm sure Tony's got lyrics and stuff like that. So I think it's just going to be a case of, you know, we've got to make the best of it. But I mean, guitars, drums, bass, and it's, you know what it is, it's an absolute joy to have live drums on this album as well.
Yeah,
you know, and Jeremy sent all the drum stems over.
Killer job.
I put them in. I just put them all into the project pages, lined them all up, and just sat back and listened to them and thought, excellent. Now we can start work. You know, because I mean, you know, you probably know the tale with RV. We had to go with the program drums, which were the demo drums that I had put together. I mean, obviously, yes, we edited them a little bit better and stuff like that, but you know, what we received was unusable. But you know, when I got these things back from Jeremie, I was just like, that's it. And I mean, in total, I mean, drum tracks as well. I think, you know, I had said to Jeremie, just, you know, mix your drums as you want to hear them. I don't want to do a mix of your drums, you know, the way I want to hear them. You know, everything sounds great. So the way you want to hear them, you know, I'm not after you being another drummer. You know, I want you to be you. I want you to sound like you, you know. And I mean, this production at the moment, it's, you know, guitar sounds, the bass sound, the drums, everything is the cleanest I've ever had. You know, everything on the tracks, it's clean. I mean, the guitar sounds, they're not massively overdriven. You know, there's not tons of gain on them and everything. I've gone for like a really classic sound, but I tell you what, when you crank those tunes up, there's no harshness there. There's not, it just goes boom. You know, it's really, and I think, again, what I tried to do with Harvey was capture the essence of the live band and doing exactly the same thing. And I think it's the same with this album. It will sound slightly different to Harvey, but I think it deserves that because of the songs, because of the different songs we've got. And, you know, even on Harvey, the songs, although orally consistent as it is, they're all slightly different, you know, because you've got a big pounding song. You know, it's not going to be the same as something which is going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But I'm pleased with the songs. I mean, at the moment, I think we've got a priority of 12. You know, I'll regularly revisit them and listen to them and think, fucking hell, you know? It's like, you know, I'm excited about it. You know, I'm not going to deny it. You know, I'm not going to be one of these people that goes, this is the best album we've ever done. You know, it's like everybody fucking says that. It's like,
Everybody does.
You know, but it sounds fucking great. It sounds great. I mean, everybody's pulled, you know, everybody's pulled every trick out of the bag. You know, so it's. I want people to hear it, you know. Whenever they hear it, it's going to be whenever. But, you know, and whenever it's ready, it's as simple as that. You know, I don't see any need right at this moment in time, the way the world is at the minute. I don't see any need to rush it. But
that's it.
It sounded great. Sounds great.
I'd say we're fortunate enough, Robin, that the label is giving us some elasticity, so that because they need like a 3-month run up before a release, so they were like, you know, when could it be ready? And you know, initially we ended festival season with Vakin in 2019. I was going to have a new hip, and then for recovery time, it was like, well, fuck it, we might as well get on with a new album. And then I could just go and spend some time in Portugal and just rest up while I'm recovering from the hip, and we can just work on stuff. And that was the intention. And then pandemic hit, so things went a bit crazy. And every time we've thought, well, we could do this or do this, we've been blocked again. So, you know, there was an impetus to try and get it ready for March 2020. And then, oh, maybe summer, or maybe we look towards the end of the year, and we kept pushing it. And you know, and then I thought, you know, why are we pressuring ourselves? We can't go out and play live until we can go back out and play it. And I thought, well, if we put it out, let's say in February 2020 or March 2020, and we don't get to play a show until 2021 or something, you know, we got a 2-year-old album, we'll have another one by then. So it's like, well, why not just take our time while we have it? You know, the guys, including me, do other projects as well. So we'll keep ourselves busy and going. And when we know we can get it right, we can do it right. Because so far, it's just worked so perfectly. You know, why rush anything? So it would be great to have it out now, because we're all quite excited about it. And the idea of the whole thing and how it's sounding is like, fucking hell, we really got something cool here. But, you know, there's no point in just throwing it together. So we'll take the time. That's the one thing that the pandemic has afforded everybody, is just that pause button that you don't normally have. and we've got that pause button. So, you know, financially, of course, things could be better, and we all want to tour again, but we've utilized the time extremely well. And when we can complete the whole thing and it's ready, then hopefully it'll be closer to us touring it as well, so we can get out, play the stuff live, which is where we actually come really to life, you know, which is what's so wonderful, as you well know, of course, you know, is that, you know, sharing you get to do with an audience. So yeah, very exciting, but it's all good and in hand.
The new record to me has it feels like what would come after Ave to me personally as a fan. So it feels like a part 2 of Ave. Now it has the fight that Primeval had, my opinion, naturally. When you guys all hear it, you can say, Jeremie, get fucked, you're an idiot, blah, blah. Or you might go, yeah, I see what you mean. But I think some of Abaddon's best playing and the band's best playing was Primeval. I think that album is fucking thumbs up, top shelf, man. It's just great. The production is awesome. And this is, to me, it's like a cumulative between a Primeval and an Ave. So this new record has a lot of heart. It has, you know, real drums being played by someone who is trying to play and really doing the best that they can, you know, and throwing it at it. And you can hear the bass. It sounds like the bass player is trying to do the best that he can and throwing it at it. Same thing with Jeff. Jeff's rhythms, you can slide a piece of paper in between them. They're so fucking razor tight. So you can take a sheet of paper and just go right in between those riffs. It all sounds so great, and everybody tried, which is what I think happened on Primeval. I don't know. I wasn't there in '89 when that was all going down. But when I listened to that as a fan, I'm like, fuck, man, it just had something different than the other records up until that point. It has.
I think that's a key point. I think that's a key point in why it feels like that, Jay. And I think it's that those what we tried to do was those early records of Venom, for example, and early records that I was part of, is that we had such a vital energy where we were like in it to win it, and it was like, fuck it, yeah, let's just fucking go. And once you start to kind of gain notoriety, or you kind of relax a bit, or you go, oh, let's experiment and let's be a bit, you know, the minute Jeff was doing that when he got to Possessed and was like, this fucking isn't working for me, he removed himself and did something completely different. That was the wise thing to do, because then when he came back, he then came back ready for a fight again. Boom, you get that power back. So, you know, we can never be 17-year-old writing a song. We can never be 21-year-old playing a show, but there's an energy there you have to try and capture. And what we've managed to do is we've managed to put that onto our live shows. So it's like me and Jeff used to say, you know, we come off stage and we're like, fucking, we feel like we're 400 years old. And a journalist said to me, how does it feel, man? You know, your time of life, it's like to be doing this. And I said, well, you know, before the show, I'm like 57. And then during the show, I'm 16. And when I come off, I'm 130. And that's kind of like the experience. I said, but you know, to capture that kind of spirit and put it on a record is what we're all about. And, you know, just been producing us now, myself and him and other people, but certainly myself and him and all of our guys is for the last 20 years, maybe getting close to certainly over 10 years. And every time he does it, he captures whatever that thing we have, whatever that spirit we have. He always manages to capture it somehow for me. And that's why we kind of keep it in-house, because we don't want to give that to someone else who goes, I can polish this for you. It's like, no, don't polish it. Don't polish it. You know, it's like buying an antique from a trade fair or something. And, you know, and then you go to get it valued and the guy went, did you clean this? And you're like, yeah. Well, it was dirty. They go, you never clean an antique, you leave it, because that's kind of the thing. You know, don't touch it. There's nothing wrong with it. It lives and it breathes, and that's what this band's about. And I hope when you hear the album, you'll think so too. And if you don't, it was his fault because he did it.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope I get to see you guys, because every time also I'm on tour, so
I know. Well, what we do, Robin, it's okay. We'll just do a huge tour with us all, and then we'll just all watch each other, and then it'll be cool.
That works for me. I'm
Yeah.
okay with all of that.
We'll put a festival together with the bands on the panel today. We'll set the date, right?
Let's do it.
I'm okay with it. And I could sell merch and I'll TM and I'll play.
Yeah, I'll help you with the merch, Robin.
That's a win. That's a win.
It's a
Robin,
win-win
I don't know
for me.
how you do it. I really don't, how you juggle everything.
Because I love touring and I love the bands and I just
Mhm.
enjoy being there and I
don't know where
love,
find the time.
I love it. I'm just like, I think it's, I love the music and everything. So it's just like an enjoyable thing for me. So if I get to watch all you guys play all the time, how does that suck? I don't think that sucks.
Now we get it. That's how I see it. That's how I see
You
it.
know? So
Yeah.
I was
Let's go to
lucky
Steve
enough
here.
to see Venom INC at St. Vitus a couple of years ago.
Oh my God.
Hey, there you go.
The riot room.
I have it
Yeah, I was at
tattooed
the
on my
St.
arm.
Vitus gig and you guys were on the road with Goat Horror and I actually was at that gig and I had one more question if we have time that from another viewer who was at a show in the 80s. It was she wanted to ask about a bootleg 7-inch of Cronus's stage banner at City Gardens.
God.
You guys played with Black Flag that night. She said it was a
Yes.
crazy show and it was legendary and she just was didn't know, she said it was like infamous, the show was. I didn't make it to that show, but I know a lot of my friends did.
Yeah, Henry Rollins put
Yeah,
it in his
yeah.
Get in the Van, his book Get in the Van. He talks about that show. Yeah, that was a crazy one.
All of his cutscenes in that, everything that Kronos says is ridiculous, and it's so funny. That's one of those things where you just sit and listen and be like, wow. Like it'll cut off like the beginning of the song, they'll like start it, it cuts off and it goes back to his stage banner. It's over the top. It's like a gag reel. It's great.
Oh yeah. Well. Cringeworthy. That's what it is. That's why I didn't say anything. It's just fucking embarrassing.
It's all right, man. I shouldn't have brought it up. Okay.
That's all
Yeah,
right.
I think though, like a lot of things, like there's
I
a
remember that show you're talking about, Stephen, at City Gardens. I had a few friends who went to that as well.
Okay.
Was that Jeff? Was it there? Was it that one where they had these fucking boom mics, right? So they had the two boom mics at the front of the stage, and the boom was
Paramount.
sticking out. Oh, that was Paramount. The fucking curtain goes up and picks the mics up with them, so they're standing side stage watching their microphones go up in the air with the curtain going. What the fuck? What the fuck? Or like,
That was actually the second night at Paramount. That was the second night. The first night was when we blew the hole in the stage and fucking that canister projected into the fucking balcony. The second night, we thought, right, everything's gonna go cool, right? You know, fucking. I'm standing behind the stack with Ashy, my roadie, and he's got his fucking fingers in my ears, and we've both got our fucking head down, waiting for the explosion at the beginning of witching hour. And sure enough, ladies and gentlemen, from the very depths of hell, Venom, yeah, and the curtains go up, snagged both fucking microphones, and we're just standing there going, oh,
it can't be good.
fuck's sake. It's like, so you talk Spinal Tap, it's like, hey, I tell you, fucking hell, man. Unbelievable.
I got a bootleg tape of that show. Kind of, I used to trade tapes, you know, like Pete Green and stuff, you know, Carnivore and all of that, and Typo, and so there was a whole bunch of us used to trade tapes and stuff. He was one of them. Chuck Schulden, also was a trader. You know, just they used to go around, and I got sent a tape from New York. It might have been Tony Scaglione or someone, but sent me a tape of the Venom show from New York. And I was like, oh, fucking brilliant. Yeah, Venom in New York. This is amazing. I put it in, and it literally goes, thunder and lightning, ladies and gentlemen, from the very times. And it just goes, boom, and the tape goes blank. And I think, oh, is that it? And then the band comes back, and I think, what the fuck happened there? And that's what happened. The explosion just took everything out, you know? And there was one of the security guards, I'll tell it, I knew Jeff Woods here, but one of the security guards said to the man, I was in fucking Vietnam. I never heard anything as loud as that, you know? Brilliant. Classic.
Fucking mental. Right now.
Final Tap.
It's definitely, yeah, definitely funny. Okay, well, we are running kind of late on this, so I would like to kind of start to wrap this up. Is there any last, you know, ending things anybody wants to say or anything, just to kind of wrap this up? And any final questions? Try to make it quick because I know I think we're running on almost 2 hours now.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it seems like it's going fast, but it's so much fun. It's great to hear the
Yeah, it
stories,
does.
but we
We
do like
blew
to
the
try to keep it under
curfew.
2
No
hours.
curfew.
Yeah, the curfew. The curfew is coming.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, the curfew is coming. Yeah.
I've got a question, and it's for Jeff, and that's Jeff. Pineapple on your pizza, yes or no?
Absolutely fucking yes.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yes.
Okay.
What a rebel.
Pineapple and anchovies on the same pizza.
I'm with you. Yep.
Don't forget the ham.
Oh,
Yeah.
head on. Ham, chicken, pineapple, bacon, anchovies, lots of cheese. There you go. So
Man,
Now we
The
know what
first-
we're gonna get for. Now we know what we're having for dinner later.
the first tour I did with Jeff, he had like cottage cheese, grapes, some bits of ham, like a whole bunch of stuff in this bowl. I'm like, none of that goes with each other. And I'm like, what are you eating, dude? And he was like, oh, I just got this some breakfast or, something like that. And I'm like, all right, hey, got it all right there in one pot. All right, no worries. And we've been friends ever since, so it worked out.
it all works. It all works, man.
It was like we did. Do you remember we did it? We did a European tour, and we just come out of Italy, and we stopped at a truck stop, and I was walking out the store, and I thought, oh, they do biscotti biscuits. So I got a whole amaretto coffee biscuits, big bag of them, and then we played the show, and we went back into our we had this little traveler, which was just the band and our tech, and we went back in there, and Jeff was like, I'm going to put the kettle on and make a cup of tea. And I went, hey, I got a surprise for us all. I brought our biscotti biscuits. So we were with Suffocation, Nervosa, Survive, and from Japan, and Eternum from Montreal. And so it was all quite intense and really fucking, and they were all on the tour bus doing fucking coke and beating the shit out of each other and doing beer and throwing each other off the bus and stuff. And we were in this little camper thing by ourselves, having tea and biscottis after every show. We'd go on the bus and Jeff would go, tea. I go, I'll get the biscuits, honey. And we'd all sit down and
It was lovely. It was one of the best times ever.
Oh, it was so relaxed.
Yeah.
We felt so good.
Brilliant.
People were going, you guys, like the next morning, everybody was walking around like, fuck, yeah, fuck. And they'd be going, you guys look so fresh. And we're going, yeah, I slept very well. We had tea and biscuits.
Yeah, and some of the biscotti, they were like blue and yellow. Some were pink, and we kept calling them shrimp or prawn. I was like, I'll have a prawn one tonight. Of course, it wasn't shrimp flavored biscotti. It was just like,
and you know what's crazy about stuff like that? There's like a quick one was a story from New York where when they went to New York, they played in New York. Jeff's kind of quiet guy, doesn't like to do all that partying shit, can't stand all that kind of stuff. So he would move himself out and just, take himself away and just be quiet. And, it was all going on for Venom at that point. And Jeff decided one evening he'd, go play bowling. And he was down some bowling alley. Anyway, long story short, this girl comes to visit in Newcastle, comes to the record company. And Jeff walks in and she's like, oh my God, hi, yeah, and gets to talk to him. And he's like, yeah, she went, wow, everybody in New York thought you were like Satan's son himself. And he's like, me, why? She went, because every time we went somewhere, Mantas was never there. He was like this mysterious figure. And he was like, I was in my room having a cup of tea and I was down the bowling. But it was that same thing. We're on the bus having cups of tea. They're all on this bus of death and mayhem. And they all thought we were crazy. And we're going, no, we're not crazy. You guys are crazy. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think I could speak for everybody where really appreciate you coming on the show. My last thing I wanted to bring up was I got to see Venom Inc. play with Necrophagia in Pittsburgh at that place. And
that was great. The church.
Yeah, unfortunately, Killjoy is no longer with us. It was really sad for sure. It was a really great show. And I have to say that everything that you guys are saying as far as having lots of heart and just being real was exactly what I experienced. I mean, I did see the only time I seen Venom before that was that reunion show at the Milwaukee Metal Fest in the mid 90s it was. And but it was just so nice to see the Venom Inc. show, and it really touched me, as a fan of the band. Just like you were saying, it just really, you can just tell that it's really done for the right reasons. That you could watch bands play and they could be great and they could play the stuff properly or whatever, but there was just a heart there that I know for myself as a musician that I try to put into my own music, where it's like, if it's not real, don't do it. And I think that's one of the main things that a lot of us got out of Venom back in the day, because it wasn't like, okay, it wasn't a big talent show. It was just going out there and just telling the world, like you said, to fuck off, to do, do it because you want to fucking do it, because you want to tell the world to fuck off. This is what we like. And if you don't like it, piss off. And I felt that live, and to see that, this for me, to see that magic live again, something that maybe, I mean, I didn't see it back in the 80s. I was too young, but maybe it wasn't even there back then. I don't know. But I know at that show, this was like the reason why those albums mean so much to me as a, musician, songwriter, fan, metalhead, whatever you want to call it. It's part of my DNA, and I'm sure it's part of everybody else here's DNA too for what we do. And we really, really thank you, not just for doing it, but for doing it for the right reasons and for the heart and for just a love of, making those songs come out the way that, they should be put out to people. So we thank you very much. And like I said, I'm sure everybody else feels the same way. And we just so look forward to, way more music from you guys. And, Jeff, stay healthy. Try to make sure you don't fuck yourself up. We want you around for a while longer. I mean, you're an inspiration as a guitar player. I'm a guitar player myself, and your riffs and your just everything about you is an inspiration to me. And since you're doing it, I'm at an advanced age myself, and you're more advanced age. You're kicking ass, so you give me hope that I could keep doing this for a while longer, and just as long as the heart's there to do it, and if the heart's not there, it's not worth doing. So we all appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Well said.
Well said.
Yeah.
So I guess, Steve, if you want to take us out, let's take us out.
Thank you. I'm going to echo John, and it's been a really enjoyable almost 2 hours of being in the same room with you guys and hearing the stories.
Pleasure.
I think it was a great show, and thanks to John for putting it on. And this is the Rock Fantasy Files. It's stuff we put together, and please take a minute and subscribe. You'll find out all the cool episodes we got coming up, and I would love to have some of you guys back on. We do a lot of band panels, even if you're a fan of another band. But thanks for joining us today.
Brilliant. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome for having me.
Check out Venom Inc. online. Buy some merchandise from them. Buy merch from the band.
Yeah.
We all need this right now.
And come to our festival when everybody you can see on screen. We're going to do a big festival, so come to the festival.
Let's do it.
We'll have to try to. There's a fairgrounds here in Middletown. Maybe we can rent it out.
We can have it.
We can have it in Texas.
Yeah, we can do it in Texas.
Texas. Middletown, Texas.
Yeah, well, things are opening up here too soon, they say. So, all right, guys. I guess
All right,
I'm
man.
gonna.
Cheers.
Be safe.
Cheers.